Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's the Tea with Gen X, Y, and Z. We are three generations, three perspectives, one cup of truth. So, get ready for a refreshing take on hot button topics today, because we're going to be brewing up a steaming hot take on today's most pressing issues, where we dish on everything from social justice to pop culture with humor, honesty, and maybe even a little healthy debate. We're going to sip the tea, spill the honest truth, and then find common ground across the generational gap. This show is guaranteed to what? Stir the pot. So, you guys, welcome. I am Dr. Melissa, representing the extra, exciting, enormous, wonderful, exhilarating X Factor. Too much?
Excessive.
Ooh, you went
Excessive.
almost Webster on us.
Did he say excessive?
Excessive.
She went almost Webster on us, huh?
Yeah. Oxford.
I'm sorry, y'all got thrown off a little bit, but I am Amber, holding it down for us millennials.
And I'm Mr. Zion, repping Generation Z.
Whoa, Mr. Zion. You guys, listen. Last week, the last episode, we talked about parental structures. And it was funny because we were like on that. We were talking about dual parent homes versus single parent homes. We were talking about stigma. And I don't know what happened. Some kind of way. I'm going to blame Zion, but maybe not. We went into talking about trauma and, people adopting trauma and all of that and reverse stigma, all of that. And I'm going to tell you, you guys blew us up with your take on that particular episode. So I'm going to tell you that I started off the show just now being really, really extra, but with intent. Because I know that today's episode is going to be a little weighty, right? We come together and we really try to take on all of these different topics from a perspective that you can see yourself in it, regardless of your generation. And today's really no different. It's just that we talked last week about trauma. And we talked about how trauma shows up and it doesn't matter about your socioeconomics and it doesn't matter about gender or race or any of those things, right? Life be lifing. And sometimes things happen that are completely out of our control. And we even sort of breached the topic of people feeling like they need to adopt trauma in order to have credibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we said that, you guys, I think we all cringed a little bit at the notion. And the reason that is because we each sit here today having experienced some pretty significant trauma in recent years. And trust me, we're not saying that we have the patent on trauma, because there are people right now on the West Coast that are going through fires and significant trauma. So we're not suggesting that what we're going to talk about today with the episode says that we have any kind of patent on trauma. But I will say we have had our share. And significantly, the month of January is it's a difficult month because each of us at this table, our most recent trauma, and I would say life-altering, life-changing trauma, happened in the month of January, 2 weeks apart from each other. And so today is the actual anniversary of the life-altering trauma that Amber experienced. So before we dive into it, here's what I promise you. This is not a show that you're going to need to go in the bathroom and take your lashes off. That's not the intent. You might need to, I might, but that's not the intent. What I want us to do more than anything is be authentic with this show. Yeah. And I will start off by telling you we struggled with this topic. We struggled with sharing this. And not because we're not all very authentic people. It's just that we were raised that your trauma, your business, your problems, those things remain private. I was certainly raised that you didn't talk about bad things.
Yeah.
And then I raised my kids the same way. So to have this discussion um, we sort of had to sit with it and really get some peace with it. And we got our peace because what we realize is that we're here to make an impact, and we're here to help people. Here to make you laugh, but we're here to make you grow. So, Amber, how would you want to share in this moment? And first of all, many people would have been somewhere else today.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Yeah. So I'm just I'm in awe of you that you're even sitting here at the table today. So
thank you. I appreciate it. 3 years ago, I got a knock at my door, and I was told that my boyfriend of 10 years, whom was the father of my then 1.5-year-old daughter, was tragically killed while he was at one of his close friends' house. I was told that he suffered from a shot to the head, and he was also tragically killed with his best friend, who was the homeowner. He passed away at the hospital, but it then became a double homicide. Hearing those words that he was gone, literally just talked to him 5 hours prior to, and I had a text message literally a minute before he passed away telling me that he loved me. And, trying to maneuver through that, I had some guilt. I had some anger. It was not an easy endeavor to maneuver through. Still to this day, don't have the words of how I even processed it. 6 weeks shortly after finding out about his passing, I found out that he blessed me with my my baby girl, our 2-year-old, who is now 2, Amia. So I had to navigate his death while pregnant by myself, and it made me very, very strong. Never knew it was something that I could bear on my own. Never knew I was capable of it. Today, 3 years ago, was supposed to kill me. It was supposed to make me not want to be here anymore. It was supposed to take everything from me. But I am here today, 3 years later. I decided to keep going. I decided to not be the definition of my trauma. And be authentically me. Keep waking up every day by the grace of God, of course, because it's His will to make me want to keep waking me up and me wanting to keep getting up. But being able to say that I can keep getting up and going. I got those 2 daughters that's looking at me, and it lit something inside of me, because it was definitely hard, coming here today and talking about this. I think this is my first time ever telling the world, a part of my story, and, individuals actually knowing what I went through, because I've been in the motion of going.
Let me jump in, though.
Yeah.
Why did you want to? Because you wanted to.
I did.
Right?
Yeah.
What was it about now that you felt strong enough or wanted to share?
I know it is other individuals going through exactly what I'm going through, and I know it's people that are looking at me, here around, that's like, how is she doing it? And being able to be the voice to say, it is okay to not know how to maneuver or get through it, because I can't tell you the words of how I did. All I can tell you is I didn't quit. I kept going. It gets easier with time. It is still hard. Me sitting here talking about it without crying. It's not easy, but I'm doing it because God gave me the voice to be able to be a help to someone that is going through the same exact thing that I'm going through, that we've all went through. So I was planted that day. I was not buried.
Mm. Ooh, what a perspective.
Yeah.
Planted but not buried. They look the same, y'all.
They do.
They look the same.
Yeah.
If you think about the process of planting something and burying something,
Yeah.
it looks exactly the same.
The exact same way. Yeah.
Ugh.
It's the outcome.
Definitely.
Zion, how do you feel with the topic? And
Yeah. Well, to start us off for today's episode, I want to go ahead and just commend Amber for wanting to speak about this topic. It's not something easy to talk about, but because she feels like it will bless people, and I believe it will too. Me personally, I didn't. Just keep it a buck with y'all. I really didn't, but as Amber said, it could be God puts us through seasons of our life to help others. So even though I don't want to, if that's my assignment, I'll be obedient. So almost 3 years ago, my father passed from he suffered from brain cancer. It was a 4-year long battle, and he was diagnosed when I was 14, and it's just a hard process, especially like at an early age in high school, because when you're young, typically people don't go through, as you put it, life altering trauma. So it was a difficulty to socialize, it was difficulty to relate to other individuals. It was it was just difficult to be in that environment where you felt like you stuck out more than I guess high schoolers traditionally do because of whatever other norms that goes on in high school. But so it was difficult, but like Dr. M also said, it's not just a tragic ending. It's not a tragic story. That should have broke me, and it didn't. Through that, a lot of things have changed, and I've done a lot of different things with my life to get over that hump and to improve myself as an individual, as a person, especially in my faith. So yeah, so it's just if you're going through something like that, know that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I know that can come off as a cliche, and it most certainly is a cliche, but that doesn't mean it's not true. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if you keep enduring, as Amber put it, and I think it is a matter of perspective, that it gets easier with time. I personally believe it doesn't get easier with time. You get stronger with time. So you get better at managing your emotions, regulating your emotions, and then just processing and accepting what has happened. In those moments, always focus on the people you do have in your life and all the people who will be in your life, because amidst all the chaos, I've met my now fiance and soon to be wife. So there's always blessings hidden under everything. There is a reason why we go through seasons, even though in the moment it is crazy and is just full of struggling, and you can still struggle even after all of that. But there's always something to come out of that trauma, out of that struggle, if you allow it to. So yeah.
wonderful perspective. Wonderful perspective. There's so much to unpack with both of you shared, and first of all, I'm the Xer, I'm the old chick at the table, so I have to say how proud and how much I admire when individuals as young as the two of you who've had something life altering happen can not only just navigate, but to allow yourself to be a conduit for someone else. That's I think that's where the life is full of the lessons that happen. And I think sometimes we take and keep the lessons with us. And I was thinking about when we had our topic last week and we sort of navigated into trauma. And when I think about it, it was just a natural place for us to go. I don't think we didn't think about it cognitively. We just all naturally went to trauma.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been in the business for 30 years, right? So it's amazing to me that sometimes I'm still like clueless. But when I went back and processed it, I thought, well, yeah, because here we are coming up on this time that exactly 3 years ago, literally January the 9th, 2022 for her, January 22nd, 2022 for me, and for those of you that haven't figured out, my son Zion.
Because you should have figured it out by now. If you
Did y'all
haven't
know?
figured it out, go ahead and give yourself a little hit on the head. Not too hard. Not too hard. I don't want to be liable, but go ahead and give yourself a little.
You know, it's amazing because when I said to him today, I said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and mention that you're my son. They both looked at me like, you know, people know. And I'm like, well, I know I never said it. So, yes, Zion is my third of four. And as he said, absolutely. His dad and I were married for 31 years. College sweethearts, got married, you know, in college. You just couldn't wait till we graduate. We couldn't graduate. We just had to get married then. Lived a military life. Did what I think is the most incredible thing that has ever happened on this planet. And that is have four of the most amazing human beings that you would ever meet. And I am not saying that because I'm their mom. I'm talking about good humans, right? We had and raised good humans, a daughter, 3 sons, 3 dogs, all of the things. Started a business together, all of the things. And just as Zion said, it was out of the blue. My late husband was healthy. He was an educator. He was a brilliant man, and it was out of the blue. That illness, that diagnosis of brain cancer came from absolutely nowhere. And when I say nowhere, I mean like nowhere. It just happened. And of course, he did pass in 2022. Yeah. Here's the thing. If this is of value for anything, right? I know that there are people who are going through trauma and loss. I know that. I know that we just came out of the holidays and everybody's like, January, woo, 2025 is my year. You know, and for some people, they're like, what? 2025? I can't even see my way clear because of what may be happening in my life. So all of this optimism and hopefulness that other people have, there are some people now just trying to put one foot before the other. And I will promise you, that was my story on so many days. Just get up, take a breath, take a step, do what you need to do, right? So what my hope and my prayer is for us being this honest, and I'm going to tell you, for us being this brave. This requires a bravery. I've done a lot of things in my life, y'all. Okay, I've been around for a long time. Sharing my story, being transparent and vulnerable with the life-altering things in my life that I've had to do over the last year has been some of the bravest work I've ever had to do. Because it's gone against everything, first of all, that I was ever taught about dealing with trauma and grief. I was taught, keep it moving. The way I was taught is, hey, it is what it is. You can't change it. There's no need to talk about it. There's really not a whole lot of reason to cry about it. Like, keep it moving, because what is that going to do? Y'all, wrong, right? There is something about this life journey that we have, and it's the starting point, it's the ending point, and it's the messy middle, is how I like to phrase it. Which means, as Zion said, and Amber talked about a little while ago, we'll have these beautiful things that'll unfold in our lives, sometimes in the midst of the chaos and the hurt and the pain, right? Yeah. Both things are life. Absolutely. You can't have one without the other. So what I really hoped to do with this is to normalize. We're not adopting trauma. We didn't need to. For those of you out there that are just trying to adopt trauma, please stop.
And we'll get to that. I got so much to say for y'all.
Definitely was not wanting.
Yeah, you
could have went without it.
Yeah, if you live long enough, if you live on this planet long enough, you'll find your moment.
You will.
Okay, and it'll happen. And then you'll decide if you're going to be better or bitter, and that'll be your choice. Yeah. But I will say this. There is a whole, I'm going to say movement, understanding, philosophy called PTG. Most of us know about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a real thing. And working in behavioral health, I've helped thousands of individuals that have dealt with that. Yeah. But there's a concept called PTG, which is post-traumatic growth, right? That one of the byproducts of trauma, while it can produce a stress disorder, it can also produce significant growth that would have never happened had you not gone through the thing, right? It's the whole concept of understanding that I was planted. The only way to come up, the only way to grow, the only way to bloom is to first understand that there's a process of going down and there's a process of feeling crushed under the weight. And that's when you say it's not that it gets easier. Go to the gym. Go to the gym today. Y'all should have already decided to do that. It's January. The gyms are now. It won't be there in February. But if you go to the gym today and get you 10 pounds, right, and do this, and it's hard. If you've not done that, it's like, oh my God. Keep doing that for 30 days. And I promise you, the weights didn't change. Your muscles did.
Yeah.
Right?
And just a side note, I know this is a serious topic, but you know me, there has to be some comic relief.
Wouldn't be if it wasn't.
When I used to be on college campus, because now I do online and stuff. When I was on college campus, I used to hate January, because I used to go to the gym all year round. And then when you have
Everybody got these
you have the
goals.
New Year resolution people, you can't get a single piece of equipment. I'm like, dang.
That's why I work out at home. I don't got those.
Like, I was like,
But
man.
you know how long that lasts? Until the new leotard is not new anymore.
Not really.
You come in, I used to have the colors.
Yeah. Really come January 15th, because you see someone you've never seen the gym before, right? And you're like, you'll be doing a machine. They'll be like, hey, how many sets you got left? I'm like, bro, do you know what that means? Like, I've never seen you before. So it's just, that's
the
funny.
New year, new me.
Yeah.
For 15 days.
For 15 days.
We can do better. We can do better, y'all.
So listen, y'all, we're going to take a really quick break and come back. But when we come back, we're going to, the goal of this show is to leave you feeling hopeful.
Yes.
I know it's a tough topic, but it's a topic that's unavoidable. It's life. Yeah. Life be lifing. Yeah. But the goal is to serve as a mirror of what resilience looks like. Yeah. We'll see you in just a moment.
Catch the wave of success with Standing on Business with Dr. Melissa. Unlock your purpose, align it with your entrepreneurial spirit, and witness your business thrive. This isn't just about authenticity, it's about building a foundation so solid, your business becomes synonymous with profitability. Tune in as we delve into marketing strategies that work and create an empire that stands on business. Because when purpose meets strategy, success is inevitable. Standing on Business with Dr. Melissa, where authenticity meets profitability.
Okay, so welcome back to What's the Tea with Gen X, Y, and Z. So before the break, we were unpacking the whole concept of trauma and being really vulnerable and transparent with our own trauma, with the hopes that somebody out there is looking. And, sometimes people say you don't look like what you've been through.
Yes.
And I hear people say that all the time. They're like, oh, Dr. M, you're so funny. You're so lighthearted. And I'm glad. That's wonderful. That is my personality. But that's not in the absence of hard things. Right. And it's not in the absence of trauma. And so the hope is that I threw out the word. I always say, like I said, a dirty D. I always try to find a way to
correlate it and make a nice.
I don't know why. Because why can't I just say, I threw out the concept of resilience, but I was trying to think of a way to say the super R. I don't know. It's extra.
Super R.
Yeah, I know,
the
right?
Super R, like the super K.
I know.
No way.
I'm extra. I need help, y'all.
The super K? That's what Kmart used to be called.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Want it? The super K?
I didn't know. I just knew. I knew about Kmart.
Okay, I came up with Super K some kind of way. I ain't make it up that time. I saw Super K somewhere.
That's probably
someone looked that up. Someone
please,
and send that to
and I'm gonna look it up too.
No, I'm gonna tell you where it's at. That's probably y'all. A corner store in one of the neighborhoods. I'm telling you, in every urban neighborhood, there's a corner store with some kind of name like that. The Super K, the Super K.
Watergate, Tiny Giant.
It's always something. But see, those are national. These are the ones that somebody just got a little building and started. Yeah. They got a hot plate in the back. Y'all, I'm sorry. If you're not urban.
Hey, we all got to start somewhere.
My bad. But anyway, okay, Super K. So anyway, we left off. And I hinted that we were going to talk a little bit about resilience. So here's how I'm going to start this segment. Where do you guys think the whole concept of perspective, like how you see things, how you see any given situation. How would you say perspective has impacted the trauma and the hard things that you've gone through?
That's really good. For me, I wanted to not be a product of my trauma. I wanted to make trauma my purpose and to be able to help others in similar situations, or if they're going through a trauma that might not be similar to mine, any kind of trauma. You get what I'm saying? Having it to be your purpose versus, yeah, I went through it, but I want to be of encouragement to someone else. Even my children. Even though my youngest baby, she doesn't know what happened, but when she get of age, I have to break it down to her and let her know. And even with my oldest daughter, she knows, but it's still a little foggy for her. Like, don't get me wrong, she knows who her dad was. And if you show her a picture all day long, she's like, oh yeah, that's my daddy. But it's still some stuff that, she really doesn't know. Yeah. So making sure that, they see their mom, yeah, we went through this together. However, you're able to grow from what you've been through. You're still who you are. Just because of what you went through doesn't make you anything less. Right? That's so, making sure that I'm walking in my purpose with what I've been through, helping others, making sure that I give myself permission, because sometimes, like you said, we grow up where we have to suppress things. You got to hide it. You got to always have this perfect picture. You can't be shown as any part of broken, even when that it's times when you are broken. Giving yourself that satisfaction of saying, I went through this. I've been broken, but I've overcome it, and I am still growing past it. I'm not perfect. There's not an inch of me that wants to be perfect, and it's okay to be imperfect.
Right.
So I love that. That's when you said broken, I kept thinking about one of the things when I work with women, particularly with grief. One of these steps in the framework is called find peace in your pieces.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even the broken pieces. Yeah. Like if you're in a shipwreck, something happens, you're out there in the boat and something happens and the boat breaks apart. You can make it to the other side on a piece of the boat.
You sure can.
You don't necessarily need the whole boat. Grab a piece, and if you can take a piece and still get to where you were going, even in the absence of the big ship and the way you wanted to get there,
yes,
we can still arrive. Even on our broken pieces. But anyway, that's taking me.
It's not going to always look how you pictured it to be. Like, I didn't picture my life to be this way. I pictured it a whole different way.
Right.
But I'm still happy in where I am.
Exactly.
So it's not going to be how you always picture it.
Exactly.
You can get there in a piece.
Exactly.
Yeah, salvage is valuable too. Another man's trash, another man's treasure.
Right.
That's true. So
yeah. What do you think about perspective, the whole concept?
No, I think perspective is honestly the primary, like, it's the most crucial part.
Yeah.
It really is at the end of the day, like, how you look at it, how you view trauma. And I don't want it to make it sound like it's easier to get over the hump than, like, I don't want you to think that we're making it sound like it's very easy to over hump. It can take a lot of time, and it's very natural for you to have a very pessimistic perspective after experiencing trauma for the first time. Yeah. I know a lot of people's initial reaction is just spiraling. I spiraled. I'm not going to get into how I spiraled, but I most certainly did. So it is a perspective. I think eventually, sometimes it's cool if you gotta, cry, if you gotta isolate yourself to, a certain amount of time, but after a while you have to get out. And you have to realize, like, you're not, like you said, you're not defined by your circumstances. You're not defined by your circumstances. You can overcome those circumstances and use that as a motivator to improve yourself. Yeah. So that's the big thing. And, you also made a great point, Amber, when you was talking about just suppressing our feelings. And I think we do that a lot in the Black community. We're often told, whether it's parents, whether it's just, other community members, to suppress your feelings and to suppress your trauma and then to just endure. But you also have to heal. And so enduring without healing all you're going to do is you're internalizing everything, and then eventually it'll become resentment. And that's why a lot of days, a lot of times now, modern day, well, honestly, for a while now, a lot of people glorify their trauma and use it like how hard they are, this or that, where they can't, they're a victim of their own trauma.
Yeah.
But eventually we have to overcome that trauma. It'll always be a part of us, but it can't define us. So,
and it's okay to ask for help too.
Absolutely. You're supposed to ask for help.
It is
you have to ask
some
for help.
journeys you can take journeys by yourself, but it's
That
some
ain't
journeys. It's some journeys that you need people to go with you and support you and have your back. And to be your net if you need to fall. Because strong people need people too. Okay. I don't know why people think I always got to be strong and I got to have everybody back. But then when you look behind, it's just, it ain't nothing there.
Well, I think it goes to something Zion just said, and you brought up a number of things. The cultural piece was huge. Because listen, you guys, we're more alike than we are different. Yeah. That's one of the things that I think is beautiful about the whole kaleidoscope of us as human beings, right? There's more that draws us near and that connects us than separates us. But we do have to acknowledge that there are cultural things that might look different depending on your ethnicity, your community. And I will say in the African American community, I think a lot of it has to do with the historical hardships that we had, that it's very easy to have this perspective of, okay, listen, hard things happen, bad things happen, get over it. Right. Like, that happened. Keep it moving. And you're exactly right. And then you threw out something else too that I think is significant, and I think we're going to unpack in a future episode, particularly during this month of January, and it's time. Mm-hmm. And here's what I would say. There's no magic special timekeeper that has the right to relegate the time that you take. Right. So when Zion was saying, in the beginning, you'll feel a certain way or you're going through something. Listen, your journey is your journey. Exactly. What I would say to you is this, and this is what I'll say from a personal perspective. And Amber used the word permission. Give yourself permission to walk through your fire. Yeah. Right? Because here's the thing. I'm not going to get abs if somebody else is doing my sit-ups. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. There is a work that has to be done to heal from trauma. Yes. It is, but it's valuable work. It is not easy, but it is absolutely, when we talk about perspective, and you use the word purpose, and she already knew that was my love language. Purpose. I'm the purpose prophetess. She already knew, honey. You know, Tom Hanks said, you had me at hello. You had me at purpose.
Tom Hanks. Oh, my God.
Oh, no, it was Tom Cruise.
I don't know.
We don't even know because it's so...
I just know Tom Hanks, one of the OGs. I was just saying, you would say Tom Hanks.
Tom Cruise is too.
It was a movie, y'all. And
that was in the 80s.
Tom Cruise more like a little, I'm sorry, but Tom Hanks is like X. Tom Cruise a little older millennial.
Tom Cruise, he is X.
Well, he's coming out with some real good movies that was your generation. Couple mine, though.
Maybe like 2-3 years
I think some millennials are resonating with Tom Cruise, though.
But yeah, you're right.
Like this one say, this is how I view it, right?
No, you're right.
No, listen, it's Tom Hanks, X. Right? Tom
Super
Cruise.
X.
This is my Super X. Okay. Tom Cruise, a little bit of X, but then a little bit of millennial. And we got Tom Holland.
Tom Cruise is not a little. Tom Cruise is older than I am.
He got a lot of movies, though,
Cruise
in their generation.
But I'm just
he got a lot of movies in their generation, though. And we got Tom Holland.
That Tom Cruise made, I will sit and watch.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Don't forget about Tom Holland.
Excuse me. It's amazing how they just hijacked my moment.
Sorry.
And won't let me be great in my commentary.
We just had to let
I did that to myself. But here's what I'm going to say, you guys. When we talk about perspective, I'm really big on this because perception is reality. Yeah. How you see a thing is what a thing is. How you see yourself is what you become. Mm-hmm. Trauma is trauma. Loss is loss. Violence is violence. There's something, it just is what it is. Mm-hmm. These things are static. It is what it is. The magic happens when we take a step back and decide how we choose to view it. Mm-hmm. This is not, I'm talking to you from somebody 3 years later. So I'm giving you the long view. So I don't want you to think that in the moment of tragedy that you wake up and go, oh, I just need to view this differently. No. This is a process. But what I am inviting you to do is that whatever your trauma might be, whatever your thing is, redefining yourself by understanding that it happened for you and not just to you.
Exactly.
This is shameless plug, but I'm not trying to plug. My book, the title is It Was Necessary.
Yeah.
And what the premise is that the it's of life, the storms, the tragedies, the traumas, the unfair things, the divorce. Because see, we're talking about loss. It's not just somebody passed away.
Yeah.
For somebody, you were married 30 years and you woke up one day and that person didn't want to be married to you anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could be a termination where you spent 40 years on a job building it and then you get the pink slip, right?
Yeah.
It could be a betrayal of a friend. It could be a health diagnosis
Exactly.
where you used to work out, but now you physically can't do what you used to do. Whatever it is, right? Those it's.
Mm-hmm.
When I say it was necessary, that is based on the premise that I choose to look at it differently and say that in the midst of my storm, it's when I got my cape, right? My power, my purpose, my strength. I did the reps, right? And it was hard, but today I got muscle. And I have the muscle only because the weight was applied. Without the weight, there would have been no development of muscle. So when I told you that I promised you we were going to leave you with hope.
Yeah.
When I say resilience is not the absence of hard things. Resilience is, in spite of the pain, I'll show up. I'll show up and do the show. On the day that some people would say, girl, go home, get under the covers and get you some cookies. And it's okay if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah.
Right? But no, I'll show up because I am at this stage now where I am saying I will take the power from the pain. I'll make the pain pay me. Y'all, for the last 3 years, this is my, y'all, I'm special, but this is how I framed it. 31 years, everything snatched from me. Going through the worst time of my life. Ooh, pain, you're going to pay me.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what happened with my pain. I became the purpose prophetess. I was not the purpose prophetess before I lost my husband. I was not speaking. I was not TEDx. I was none of those things before then. I became that because I said, if I'm going to go through this, I'm going to glean every lesson and every blessing that I can get from it. And not that stopped the pain from being there. The pain is there. The loss is there.
Yeah.
The what ifs and it could have been, all of those things are there. But I decided that I would not die with my dead. I decided that for each of us, and we're going to wrap it up with this, there's a dash. That's the year you were born and the year that you leave this earth. And in between is a dash. And that's where all of life happens. If you've lost someone, and in our case, we did, there was a completion of that equation. The year they were born, the dash, and the year that they left this planet. They are complete. I am not. You are not. You are not. There's a question mark behind that dash. And if you're here and if you're listening to us and you're going through something or you've gone through something, sometimes we feel guilty that we still have that dash. But what I will say to you is you have to decide if you're going to honor your dash.
Right.
That dash is completed. That equation is completed. My late husband completed. I have not.
Yeah.
So I have to wake up every day and decide if I'll honor the dash that I've been given.
Right.
For however long.
Exactly.
Tomorrow may be the day. I don't know. But as long as my dash has not been completed, my view is I'm responsible for what I do with that dash. And how can I, with this pain, take on the purpose that even if it's just sitting on a show with two of the most amazing people on the planet and just being brave enough to share something with the, not just hope, with the knowledge that is helping somebody. I don't hope. I don't hope. I know. I know for certain,
Yeah.
right, that somebody is gleaning something from this, right? Our obedience in doing so.
Right.
So how will you honor your dash?
Right.
That's how we're going to. I'm not going to let him, because I know I feel him over here.
No, she actually said what I wanted to say. But it's your responsibility. That's why, like, if you're going through something, I'm just reiterating what you said. Right? If you go through something, it is your responsibility because you will come out of that situation. Once you come out of that situation, it's your responsibility to help others who are going through that same situation. Because you remember how bad it was when you were going through it. So you obviously you don't want them to go through what you went through. So it's your responsibility to help them out. So you basically covered that, though.
I love it.
In a shorter version. So
he would say he said it. I said it a lot more excessive. But Amber, final thoughts?
Oh, so we're doing a final thought section.
We might as well. We might as well.
I'll be having a lot of closing thoughts.
Listen, my only thing is just keep going. Don't quit. It's not the end of the road. With every lesson, there's a blessing. So,
love it.
Oh, I love it. And she ended with a rhyme.
She did.
I love it. Amen.
Somebody clip that up.
Okay, you guys. So with that, let's keep this conversation brewing. Remember that we've got to ask questions. We got to listen to understand. And then we have to acknowledge the unique challenges that each generation faces. And then we look for common ground, because trust me, it's there. So until the next time, keep sipping, keep talking, keep growing. Tune in next week for another thought-provoking and maybe entertainment, maybe not, conversation.
Y'all tell us. Y'all say what y'all want to hear.
Let us know. Tune in next week for another conversation that's going to bridge the generational gap, one cup at a time. Take care.